point out that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I wonder how gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 660th edition of Energy Week with George Harvey. That's me, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm a little off track here, changing the pictures. And Nancy Wolf.
Hello.
Okay, this is a news aggregation program which uses news that my daily news aggregation blog got. I usually put up 15 items per day. And, you know, if you think about this, I've been doing that since 2012. And I'm approaching 5,000 days. And each item takes about 25 looking at 25 pieces. So I've looked at 25 times almost 70,000 articles. And that's a lot.
That's a lot of articles, yeah.
Way over 1 million. You know, you just do it every day and this is what happens.
Just builds, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, my site is geoharvey.com. You can go there on the days that we're talking about and you'll see 15 items usually. You can also go to a site that should be listed on the screen if you can scroll around. Not everybody can, but it would be called Tiny URL Energy Week 660, and those are news aggregation. We are doing January 22nd to January 28th in this edition of Energy Week. And there's 3 items for each day. So you can go to that
Tiny URL
site that I mentioned and just get the goods without having to fight with a calendar. Forget it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're starting on January 22nd.
Yeah.
And we have this picture.
Yeah. And this is from Euronews. And the headline here is Solar and Wind Overtake Fossil Fuels in the EU for the first time.
Yeah. Now, I have to point out here, there are 2 things going on. One is talking about solar and wind by themselves, kind of put together. The other uses the term renewable, which is talking about other things too, including hydropower and things like that. Okay, a report from Ember found that renewable energy was the source of almost half of the EU's power last year, despite a drop in hydropower and increased use of gas. Wind and solar led the boom, generating about 30% of the EU electricity and overtaking fossil fuels by 1%. Now, 30%, that means that about 20% of the renewable energy was not solar and not wind.
Yeah.
And there are many different types that can go into. They also have nuclear.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about nuclear
later.
We're
going to talk about nuclear. That we will.
Okay. Should we go on?
Yeah, let's go on.
Let's go on. We have a picture of seaweed.
Yes, we do. This is from Clean Technica. So the headline here, seaweed blooms suggest the ocean is geoengineering itself.
How intelligent.
That's fine with me.
Do you think nature would do a better job than human beings?
I do. That is absolutely what I believe, yeah.
Well, we'll find out, I guess. Just as a tree is on land, seaweed is a living organism that soaks up carbon dioxide when it grows. Clearly, more seaweed can sequester more carbon. A study by research at the University of South Florida, published on January 19th, finds the ocean may be geoengineering itself. And what that means is the ocean is increasing the amount of seaweed. And that seaweed is really good at sequestering carbon dioxide, really good. And it's just changing. The ocean is changing to do a better job at sequestering carbon dioxide.
I just think that the ocean is the one who should be geoengineering because they apparently, great.
Yeah.
Done.
I have a note here that says researchers wanted to grow more algae for a variety of reasons. One of them was to draw down carbon dioxide. Another reason is because algae is good to eat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then they discovered more algae was already growing. What can you say?
You're rich in algae.
Rich in algae. Yes. Okay, I'm going to move ahead if you don't
Yes. We can have this picture for too long.
This picture is a White House official photograph of an unhappy looking guy.
Yeah, another unhappy guy behind him. That might be his son.
Well, the guy behind him, I think, is dozing.
Yeah.
This one is, he looks, I don't know why the White House photographers do this, but they do it.
Probably directed to do it. But this is from ABC News.
Yes.
And the headline is, Trump rules out using military force to acquire Greenland in Davos speech.
Well, Trump said a lot of stuff in the Davos speech.
He did say a lot of things in the Davos speech. There's a lot going on there.
Yes, and
not a lot of sense. I'm not quite sure.
The decision not to send American troops to Greenland was a smart one.
Yes, I would like to encourage that one.
Yes. President Donald Trump, speaking at the World Economic Forum, ruled out taking Greenland by military force. Why anybody would want to take Greenland by military force is
confusing, to say the least.
We have an article later in this program about icebreakers. Mm-hmm. And the problem is we only have 3. That's the United States only has 3 icebreakers, one of which doesn't work. So we really only have 2. Mm-hmm. And we would probably need an additional 10 if we took Greenland. Where are we going to get them? American shipbuilding organizations don't build icebreakers. So we'll have to build them. Maybe China might be a good source. Russia might be a good source. Russia's first nuclear power ship was an icebreaker.
Okay.
And maybe Denmark. They're going to build American icebreakers so that Americans can take over Greenland.
Norway?
Finland? It's okay. President, he said, we probably don't get anything unless I decide to use excessive force. Note the word excessive. Mm-hmm. And force where we would be, frankly, excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. I think the United States would be at least as unstoppable in Greenland as Russia is in Ukraine.
Well, I have a specific comment here, and I say good, and military environmental cost is not measured. So this is good for the world to have less unaccounted for pollution.
Yes.
So.
Okay, now we're going to come to an image that I've been hoping for.
Yeah.
For a while. And I want to explain this image. This is a NextEra Energy investor presentation. This is from page 10. I made a mistake on this slide. It says investor report. It should say investor presentation. It was done in May of 2023. This is different from the Lazard LCOE graphs that I've used in the past. And frankly, I like it a lot better because Lazard would put up the levelized cost of home rooftop solar power and compare it with utility scale solar power. They're not the same thing. Rooftop solar should be compared to the retail price of solar power from utility scale sources, where the other material in the graph is all utility scale, so it doesn't work properly. Here, we don't have to worry about this. This is NextEra Energy's carefully engineered ideas about what it will cost to make NextEra Energy to produce electricity.
Yeah.
And if you look at the graphs, the top is near firm wind, the next one is near firm solar. The term near firm means originally, what I could ascertain, I had to go back and find out, near firm meant this was at least as reliable for supplying high demand electricity, dispatchable electricity, as nuclear. So this is wind power that is at least as reliable as nuclear. Solar power at least as reliable as nuclear. How do you do that? Easy. You give it batteries for backup. Now in this chart, which is a little bit more recent than what that was, it says the near firm wind, near firm solar means that you have 4 hours of backup battery. And their experience had been that 4 hours of backup battery would make it as reliable as nuclear. Because you don't use 4 hours of backup battery in 4 hours. You use it during the night and you have some left over. And that might sound a little confusing, but if they have a 300 megawatt battery system that is a 4 hour battery system, then it will hold 4 times 300 megawatt hours or 1200 megawatt hours. And, we don't know. The other thing is near firm solar and near firm wind are both can be used together. Wind power is strongest in general when the sun isn't shining. It's strongest at night, it's strongest in the winter. And the reverse is true when, the sun is shining. So we're seeing near firm solar being at most $24 per megawatt hour. That's 2.4 cents per kilowatt hour, where power from a small modular reactor, which is a new nuclear reactor, is $105 to $135 per megawatt hour, which is 10.5 to 13.5 cents. Now, let me ask you, would you rather spend 2.4 cents per kilowatt hour to make electricity, or would you rather spend 10.5 cents per meg? I mean, this is crazy that we're talking about nuclear if it's going to cost 4 times as much. And the fact is, nuclear power is not as reliable as they like to tell you.
And our next article is just exactly something like that.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead on that one, or do you have a picture?
We haven't read. This is from WCAX.
Yeah, that's what I want to read.
Oh yes, that's
what I want to read.
Do it.
So, Governor Scott pushes lawmakers to reconsider nuclear energy in Vermont.
I think we need a different governor, or we need to convince him that he's wrong.
I mean, he's wrong. He's wrong. I mean, what is Vermont Yankee? Jeopardy question. What is Vermont Yankee? What is the amount of energy that people have put into getting that plant shut down?
And what amount of waste is on that site waiting to be dealt with somehow? And people don't really know how to deal with it, because we still don't know how to deal with these things. People don't understand one thing. I think most people don't understand one thing. And that is that when you put a fuel rod into a reactor, that fuel rod laid out on a table would not be all that unsafe to work with by hand because it's not terribly radioactive. But when you put it into a nuclear reactor with all those other rods, they get each other excited.
Right.
And when that happens, over the 18 months that the rod is operating in the nuclear reactor, it gets more and more and more radioactive. Why? Well,
Instability. How about that?
the thing is, when an atom of uranium breaks apart, we don't know what it turns into. We know that it's going to turn into matter that is going to be of some kind of some type of element. Usually maybe 2 particles of matter, maybe 3 particles of matter. We don't know. The atom, before it breaks, has got no indication of what it's going to become. And these atoms that they're turned into are of isotopes that are unknown.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at a complete chart of isotopes and you just pick the first 10 that you randomly pick, most of them are going to be isotopes that have extremely short half-lives. There are very few elements that have the most common isotopes that are not radioactive. We've got lots of them, but if you look at hydrogen, hydrogen 1 is not radioactive. Hydrogen 2, deuterium, is radioactive. Hydrogen 3 is tritium, that's radioactive.
Yeah, that's right.
Hydrogen 4, hydrogen 5, hydrogen 6. It goes up to like hydrogen 13. And each one of them is
More unstable than the
more
next.
unstable than the next.
Yep.
You know, and that's true not just of hydrogen, it's true of lots of things.
Right, because this is chemistry. This is chemistry. That's how it works.
If you have a fuel rod which has been taken out of a reactor and you stand next to it for 10 minutes too close, you're probably going to die because it is so radioactive. It's going to be radioactive like that for decades, but it's going to decline. That's why they have spent fuel pools, so that they have a place to put one of these things where it can sit there while it gets a little less radioactive each year for 7 years or so. And then they take it out and put it in dry cask storage where it can sit for 100 years. And then you've got to figure out, because it takes about 300 years to get down to the point that you can kind of safely deal with these things, you got to figure out how you're going to get rid of it. Now, you can put it on a train car and take it across the country.
That's true.
Which is really safe because railroad accidents
never happen. Never happen.
Except in this case, it's not like a train wreck that, just spills
toxic
oil
sludge,
all over the place or something like that.
You got toxic sludge. How about toxic sludge?
Yeah, you've got toxic sludge that is going to be toxic as it goes year by year down the Mississippi River, killing everything in sight. This is not good. It's not good. And I said the nuclear industry and the numbers that it produces. One kind of number that the nuclear industry produces is accurate numbers. Just one kind. Mm-hmm. If they say that a plant will operate at 900 megawatts, that's what they mean, and it probably will. But they're off by an order of they're off by a factor of 2 or more when it comes to the cost or the delivery time. Mm-hmm. We will look into delivery times later in this broadcast. And they're off by an order of magnitude when they're talking about safety. If you compare the number of people who have died because of a nuclear plant explosion or something like that, like Chernobyl, and by the way, one of the reactors at Fukushima Daiichi we've got a pretty good indication that the one that had dark gases going up, the reactor did explode.
Yeah.
That's why spent fuel was found a mile and a half from the plant. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission, in a conference call, was crowing about how safe those spent fuel pools are. And Ray Shaddis, who was a contractor for the New England Coalition, asked a question, which was, if they did so well, where did the fuel fragments come from that were found a mile and a half from the plant? And somebody on the NRC staff, or at least in their group, said, oh, that didn't come from a spent fuel pool. It had much too much radioactive iodine in it to come from a spent fuel pool. Whereupon Ray Shaddis said, do you mean that this was ejected from a reactor? And he was cut off. Now, I don't think those words made it into they were not in the transcript. Okay. Governor Phil Scott is asking lawmakers to take a second look at nuclear energy as Vermont works to meet its renewable energy goals by 2030. Quote, previous policy decisions made this building prioritize ideology over results. What?
Resulting health harms. Is that what he means by results?
Scott said in the budget address, I'm sorry, we'll get back to this. We're falling way behind.
Yeah, because this is the story we're talking about all.
Yeah, okay.
Whole show.
Now we have from Euronews, a wind farm in China.
Yeah. Well, the headline is Trump claims China doesn't use wind power. The world's largest wind farm is there.
Actually, it's worse than that from an American perspective. Approximately half of the wind generating capacity is in China.
Yeah.
They have about half. I tried to do the research. There's nothing that's recent enough to compare. But it looks like they may have actually reached half because they're building wind farms like mad. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, the POTUS,
President of the United States.
You sure that isn't based on some kind of thing about potbelly?
Yeah, this is been used.
Oh, it's been used.
For all the presidents.
I had a feeling you were going to say that because you're truthful.
Right.
Made several dubious claims about Greenland, NATO, and renewable energy. Several. Trump consistently criticized green energy drive, calling wind and solar power, quote, the scam of the century, end quote. Well, I'll tell you, since that happened, I've been seeing multiple articles from China every day about what Trump said and how wrong he was. And they include pictures. This picture is not a picture that those articles include because the articles are almost all copyrighted. I can't use them.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll go on.
Yeah, let's go on.
Now we have another thing that isn't happening.
Yeah, so this is from Clean Technica. The assumptions that broke: China, India, and the end of fossil growth models.
Okay, the idea that heavy freight would be the last redoubt of diesel oil has been repeated for decades, often with confidence and rarely with evidence. In December 2026, that idea finally collapsed. Battery electric heavy-duty trucks crossed the 50% of new sales in China. So 50% of their heavy-duty trucks, this picture showing one, but this includes tractor trailers, all kinds of stuff.
Look, this stuff is easy once you give people the option. If you give someone an option, instead of saying, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this, but if you give someone the option, they might take it.
That's right, which is why you would think that libertarians would would be in favor of renewable energy, and a lot of them are. But anyway, let's go on.
Let's go on.
We have a picture of a jackup ship. This
Yeah.
is Saturday, January 24th, and it comes from Renews.
Yeah, so this is a story that we're going to keep talking about throughout the show, but North Sea nations plan a 100-gigawatt offshore wind push.
9 nations, including the UK, Germany, and the Netherlands, will pledge to jointly, I hate split infinitives, jointly develop 100 gigawatt of offshore wind in the North Sea and strengthen protection of infrastructure, Bloomberg reported. Energy ministers are expected to sign a declaration in Hamburg next week, it says. I think it means this week.
This week.
Yeah.
That's great collaboration going on.
Saturday, yeah, it's great collaboration. 100 gigawatts by 2050. 100 gigawatts of offshore wind is equal to about 50 large nuclear power plants.
Okay.
What can we say? And that's just offshore. That's just offshore wind. Okay, solar and batteries. We're back to another graph that
Yes.
talks about solar and batteries, and we have a comparison here with nuclear. We want to establish the infrastructure to deal with climate change as quickly as we possibly can.
Yes, quickly.
Here is quickly.
Yeah.
Clean Technica.
Yes. Yes. And so solar and storage.
Good for you.
The key for energy affordability in Virginia.
Oh man, electricity demand in Virginia is rising quickly and ratepayers are feeling the impact as utility bills rise. Solar and energy storage technologies are the fastest and cheapest new sources of electricity to build, allowing power to come online in months rather than years. And here, I'm going to ask everybody to pay attention. Could you put that back up again?
Yep.
Okay, the top bar is solar photovoltaic. It takes solar PVs, typical solar PV system, and this is a large utility scale system, about 1.4 years to build.
Don't forget the agrivoltaics.
Yeah, you can do that. You can have wind too. That's more natural. Batteries take about 1.7 years. Offshore wind takes about 7 years. Onshore wind does, rather. I'm sorry. Nuclear, well, it takes 15.3 years.
Yeah.
So if we want to get anything done by 2040...
Maybe we should go to the 1.4 years or 1.7 years.
Maybe it would be...
It might make sense instead of the 15.3. But
yes.
What my comment here is, as Virginia goes, but also all about allowing the power to come. Kind of what I said in the last.
Yes.
If you give people choices,
yes,
they might choose that. And if you are allowing the power to come, allowing it to come, as opposed to block, we won't even give the possibility. But
that's what the Trump administration is trying to do. They're trying to micromanage the market.
Oh, yes.
Which is exactly the opposite of what normal conservatives do.
Yeah.
Nothing they do fits with a normal conservative pattern. No. Really. Okay, let's go on.
Yeah.
Okay, here is a solar farm.
Yeah. So that
is a next era energy solar farm.
Oh. Well, this is from Solar Power World.
Yeah.
And the headline here is DOE cancels $83 million in clean energy loans.
$1 billion.
Billions.
Yes. Billions. DOE announced that it is pulling the plug on $83.6 billion of Biden-era loans slated for clean energy projects. This is the latest action taken to reprioritize federal support for fossil fuels. And as the DOE loans programs office is replaced by the Office of Energy Dominance Financing.
This is nonsensical.
the Office of Energy Dominance Financing. It sounds like
it's not real. Like what? It doesn't sound. It's not real.
It's like
no,
the Office
no.
of Energy Sadomasochism or something. And unfortunately,
Financing.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Because it is painfully attacking the United States and really nobody else. It's really good for China.
That's really good for China. It's very good for China.
Yeah, and that's the way the world is going. So what happens? We're going to axe renewable energy, and Mark Carney gives a speech in which he talks about how they're going to build a really strong trade alliance with China and sell it their natural gas instead of selling it to the United States. So all of a sudden, the United States has a natural gas problem. I mean, this is crazy. All right, we're up to Sunday, January 25th.
Oh, yeah.
And we have wind turbines in China.
Yes, from Xinhua.
I'm so glad you know what that means.
I don't know what it means, but I can say it.
it.
I can say it.
Okay.
From the Gobi to the sea, wind power is a cornerstone of China's energy green transition.
Yeah. Gobi, by the way, is divided between Outer Mongolia and Inner Mongolia. And Outer Mongolia is the country called Mongolia, which, by the way, the Chinese have always been claiming they actually own. And the Chinese province of Inner Mongolia has part of the Gobi Desert in it too. And they're right next to each other. It's amazing how that happened. Okay, China is the undisputed global powerhouse in wind energy. Don't you forget that.
Don't forget.
For 15 years, China has ranked as the first worldwide in installed wind power capacity. So they have always been number one for 15 years.
Yeah.
In November 2025, its installed wind capacity exceeded 600 gigawatts, far exceeding that of any other nation. And this was why I did that research. I think it might actually be in excess of all other nations put together. Mm-hmm. So the Chinese did not like being told that Donald Trump doesn't know anything about Chinese wind energy. They want us to remember that they're the world's number one.
So you will
power.
See articles every single day about various.
They just come. And they will not come until the Chinese realize that they can't deal with the President of the United States as a thinking person who is willing to learn things.
No. They just have to shame him. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, now we have a picture of, I guess, the beginning of a winter storm, because those park benches out there are not covered with snow yet.
Well, this is from Grist, and the headline here is, yes, climate change can supercharge a winter storm. Here's how.
Yeah. Research suggests that the jet stream has been weakening of late, making it wobblier. This could be caused by a warming climate and could increase the likelihood of weather like what we're going through. And actually, we're going through it today. It's going to be 6 below tonight and 10 below tomorrow night, according to this. Remains a matter of active research among climate and weather scientists. They're not willing to say this is because of global warming. They are willing to say it might be because of global warming.
Well, here's the thing. How climate change impacts a storm. Break it down. That's what remaining a matter of active research, as in explain it. Yeah. Explain it to people so that people can understand it and not say, oh, that magic up there. Who knows? Who knows how this happens? Oh, these scientists are using all these words that we don't understand.
Yes.
No, but explain it. Break it down exactly how it works.
Yeah, and actually, I've read explanations that they're not something that you can just read and toss it off and eat another hot dog and drink another soda.
No, that's what I mean. They have to break it down.
Yeah. But
Simple.
basically that jet stream, everything north of it is going to be colder than everything south of it. And when you get polar air coming down into North America, the thing that delineates where it goes to is the jet stream. And if the jet stream is all over the place, then you're going to have cold air all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay. And this, I actually like this picture.
There we go. We got Bentonville, Arkansas.
That's right.
So this is from Clean Technica. Arkansas PSC, that's Public Service Commission, opens door for higher electricity bills.
Arkansas Public Service Commission approved a move to raise customers' electricity bills in much of northwest Arkansas, or as they say, Arkansas. Some people do.
Oh, they probably don't live in Arkansas then.
I think people in Arkansas say that,
Oh,
but people in Kansas do.
yes.
I was born in Kansas, right across from that farm where that little girl with the dog came from. In that gray place, Toto.
Oh, yeah. Yes, right. Yes.
Right across the street.
Right across the street.
Now a utility, the utility, which is called SWEPCO, will increase bills by 23% at the current fuel costs, in part to help prop up old, dirty, expensive Flint Creek coal plant.
This is terrible planning. Terrible.
No, they maybe they did have good planning, and they were told that they had to keep it open because the Trump administration wanted them to keep it open, and we do see that. Okay. Offshore wind power.
Oh, yeah. So here we go again. This is from Renews. So again, North Sea nations sign a 100 gigawatt pact.
This is the same 100 gigawatt.
Yeah, same 100 gigawatt pact.
The previous time we were saying that they were talking about 100. Now they've signed it. The UK and several European allies signed the Hamburg Declaration, committing the countries to delivering 100 gigawatts of offshore wind projects in shared North Sea waters. Energy Secretary, that's UK Energy Secretary Ed Miliband, said the agreement marks a historic pact to strengthen energy resilience and global instability. Now, this is the UK and the EU. Countries in both of them operating, the 9 countries. So this has got a fair amount of clout behind it.
Yeah.
But this is also 100 gigawatts over a period of 24 years.
Still probably faster than those nuclear plants we get online.
Nuclear power is hopeless, except for one thing, and that is it costs so much that anybody who's just watching the money go down the conveyor belt can grab a bill now and then.
That's true.
And
That's true.
am I accusing them of theft? Well, yeah. There is a huge advantage to being terribly poor. And one huge advantage is if they sued me for what's the suit?
Defamation.
Defamation. They could win and not get anything, have it cost more than not suing me. So maybe they're not stealing. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know. Let's make it that.
Yeah.
Let's be truthful. All right. Now we have this.
Which is another story.
It's
Here we
another
go.
story.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Which is from Renews. Offshore wind deal mobilizes 1 trillion euros spending blitz.
A trillion.
A trillion.
Yeah, and $1 trillion is more than
More than $1 trillion.
That's right. Not a whole lot more, but it is more. An investment pact unveiled at the North Sea Summit in Hamburg will mobilize a trillion euros of activity for Europe's offshore wind sector, according to Wind Europe. The governments involved are pledging to deliver 15 gigawatts of offshore wind construction annually over 2031 to 2040 and de-risk new projects. So this is big.
I wrote down really big deal.
Yeah. I had said that it was ending in 2050, but without doing the math, it might be that it's 2040. And this stuff goes up fast. So, 17 months as opposed to trying to get nuclear plants. If we try really hard to get nuclear plants up so we can address climate change, we won't be able to get the first ones up before it's too late. So
and then we need to upgrade them.
Yeah, and on top
Fix
of everything
problems.
else, we would be taking money that could be used to put in wind and solar, and batteries, which are very cheap. Okay, now we have a picture of a gas station. This gas station, by the way, is not in the United States. I'm just pretending that it is. It's actually in Croatia.
Well, so this says from Clean Technica, U.S. oil industry busted for one of the most successful antitrust conspiracies in U.S. history.
Yeah, the latest chapter of the ever-evolving saga of climate litigation is highly spicy because it aims to call oil companies and trade organizations to account for almost 50 years of unlawful restraint of trade activity, exposing them to a long list of penalties. Now, I think we could look at this and ask, are they killing people by defrauding people? Are they committing a fraud that is resulting in death?
Are they using a defense that a tobacco company would use?
Well, they may be, but I think we have to think about fraud leading to death. And the problem is it's hard to point at one person and say that person died because of air pollution.
Well, we're trying to prove causation, and that is what the government requires when you're a government worker in a nuclear site. You're the one who has to connect that death to the actual chemical.
Are you familiar with the grooves in bullets that you can use to tell that bullet came from that gun?
It's like a fingerprint.
It's like a fingerprint. They want the atomic particle that gave a person cancer. And they want to look at it and figure out where that atomic particle came from. That is the standard that they're putting out. And what we should be able to do, like attribution science, we should be able to say, look, 400 people died of cancer in this area, which is near a nuclear power plant. And if it had been some other kind of plant there, like a wind farm, the number would have been 200 people dying of cancer or something like that.
Well,
and so we can know not that any given person got cancer because of the nuclear plant, but that 200 of them statistically got cancer related to nuclear plants, and they are starting to do that.
Well, one of the things that these sort of the health regulators do in the various states, they'll talk about the rates of the people who smoked.
Oh yeah.
So they'll use the smoking defense in order to evade actual progress, but that's the thing, is they're using it on this side, then they're flipping it over and using it to help to not solve things by saying, if you average it out over here, you're not going to find much. Oh, and also this person smoked cigarettes their whole life, so let's not even try to figure out if that's. It's just straight up. We're going to end this conversation because we're going to mention smoking.
Yes.
But then,
yeah. Okay, we're up to Tuesday. January 27th, and we have, believe it or not, a picture of a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, so this is from Renew Economy. Another miserable year for nuclear power as renewables surge.
We've been told that we're in the middle of a nuclear renaissance. That's actually, I've been hearing about this nuclear renaissance since the show started going. And for the nuclear industry overall, the 25-year pattern of global stagnation is continuing with no end in sight. Newly installed nuclear capacity of 4.4 gigawatts in 2025. That's worldwide. That's not a lot of nuclear plants. Was only 0.56% of the estimated 793 gigawatts of solar and wind capacity. So solar and wind are going in about 200 times as fast now.
Okay, half a percentage point. Why are we even bringing this up as a possibility? Half a percentage point. Why?
Well,
why would we bring nuclear into this conversation when clearly
we've got a bunch of reasons to leave nuclear power out? I said they're right about the power of the plant. There is a category of numbers that is off by a factor of 2. That's the delivery time for the plant, the cost of the plant. And there's another category of numbers that's off by an order of magnitude, at least. That means it's happening 10 times as fast as they said it was.
What, safety issues?
Meltdowns.
Yes. Yeah.
We should have had, if you look at their statistics, their safety analysis, we should have had one meltdown in the 20,000 reactor years that we've had.
Yet their model was wrong, I guess. And they're just models.
11. And it took me a long time to find out why they were that far off, and I believe I finally did. Safety analysis only takes into account things that can be assigned numbers, probabilities. You cannot assign a probability for human error. So human error was never introduced into the safety analysis. And I believe, arguably, all 11 nuclear meltdowns that we're aware of, there may have been others, and I'm counting just nuclear power plants that were putting electricity on the grid. So the sodium reactor experiment in Simi Valley, California.
If you just read the book Command and Control, you'll see all kinds of random things when you talk about nuclear weapons, and just finding one in the water, finding one off the coast, finding a missile.
When a nuclear bomb was dropped accidentally over North Carolina.
Yeah. Yep.
And
which is the beginning of the Command and Control book, which talks all about that. Yes.
It happened that it hit a house, but it didn't explode because it hadn't been armed to explode yet. But it did fall and hit a house.
Yeah.
And the house was kind of rendered unusable.
Right.
Because the nuclear stuff came out.
Yeah.
Kind of nasty. Okay, the total amount of nuclear power in the world is just 1/17 of the total amount of nuclear power in the world is just 1/17 of the total amount of wind and solar that was installed last year. This is not a solution.
No.
Now, maybe they'll come up with a solution one of these days. You know, maybe they'll figure out how to get a lot of electricity out of fusion power or something. But this is a way of wasting money in somebody's direction. Okay, hydropower.
Yes, hydropower. So, this is from International Water Power.
Yes.
Europe's hydropower sector repositions for energy security and climate resilience.
As climate change disrupts water availability and power system stability, a new ETIP hydropower white paper argues that modernized hydropower and pumped storage are no longer just renewable assets, they are critical infrastructure. Well, I'm not sure I agree with that. And the reason is because the amount of battery storage that is coming online that is of completely new designs is astonishing. Now, they may say, and this could be true, that it's not just a renewable asset, it's critical infrastructure because it also helps provide areas with water for irrigation, stuff like that. But you look like you're puzzled about something.
Yeah.
You have a comment? You're allowed to say, George, you're just plain frigging wrong.
Oh, well, I don't have a comment on this one. I have comments coming.
All right, we have a wind turbine coming up.
Yes, we do. So this one is from Renews.
Yeah.
Solar, wind, and storage to dominate U.S. growth.
Yeah, well, we're going to have dominant energy dominance, right?
Financing.
Except it's not going to be the way that Donald Trump thinks it's going to happen. It's going to be solar and wind. Solar, wind, and battery storage are forecast to provide almost all net new U.S. generating capacity in 2026, according to a review by the Sunday Campaign of newly released data from the U.S. EIA, which is the Energy something agency.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Combined solar output from November grew by 27.5% and supplied 7.2 percent of U.S. electricity. That's not solar and wind providing 7.2. That is solar providing 7.2. This is growing really fast. I have a note that says if the U.S. hurries, it might get a few combustion gas engines installed by the end of Trump's term. If it tries hard and soon, solar and wind are being built now. Okay, we're up to Wednesday, January 28th.
Yeah.
And we have a cadmium telluride thin film solar system pictured.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 100 gigawatts of
Cadmium telluride.
Thin film solar by 2030. But how to get there?
Despite the sudden U-turn in U.S. energy policy, U.S. solar innovators keep pushing the renewable energy transition forward. The latest example comes from Ohio, where a research team outlined a way for the U.S. to produce 100 gigawatts of cadmium telluride thin film solar per year. That's a lot. By 2030, that's only 4 years away.
You can put that film anywhere you want. Put that film everywhere.
Yeah. And I have a note here, which is there are people who are upset about cadmium telluride because cadmium and tellurium are both toxic.
Yes.
And the note that I have is risks of cadmium telluride thin film solar are nearly all at the end of life and are connected to recycling or disposal. So it's not nuclear.
No.
It's not coal ash, which, you have a dam break and you've got a river poisoned all the way down to Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. Okay. Our next item is an icebreaker. And I said we were going to look at icebreakers earlier in the thing, and here it is.
Yeah, this is from Euronews. Cracks in the future of Arctic ice breaking.
Any plan for Greenland has to take ice into account. Duh. It chokes the harbors, entombs minerals, and threatens ships all year. But the U.S. has only 3. The country has entered agreements for more, but can only source the ships from adversaries or from allies who have recently been rebuffed. I can't imagine where to go with this.
Right. Yeah, there's gum called iceberg.
Yes, I agree. Whatever you were about to say, I agree. Okay. Now we have a picture of a nacelle from a GE wind turbine.
Yeah, so this is from News. Judge clears Vineyard to restart construction.
Vineyard Wind has been allowed to resume work after a Boston district judge granted a stay against the U.S. administration's lease suspension and construction pause issued on the 22nd of December 2025. The order was, quote, likely arbitrary and capricious. That is to say, the order to shut these things, wind farms, down. Judge Murphy said in his ruling.
Those are the two words, arbitrary and capricious.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is a really good indication of what is going wrong in Washington right now.
Because it's arbitrary and capricious. All these decisions are arbitrary and capricious.
Which contributes to chaos.
Yes.
We have a chaotic government, and a chaotic government is not going to be able to accomplish anything of value. But anybody who wants to claim anything out of that chaotic government can say, oh, we had a problem, it's their fault, they're traitors. And look at the successes that we had. You know, we helped 14 little old ladies cross the street in Brooklyn.
Yes, that's what we did. Exactly.
Really, and that I think is why we have chaos, because they don't know what to do. They don't have the imagination to figure it out. And so they create chaos so they can get away with stuff, which is one of the reasons why we should never allow politicians to be chaotic.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to here.
Yeah.
We have a sign that says, have a warmly friendly week. You know, Jane Austen spelled friend, F-R-E-I-N-D.
Oh.
Now, it was friends, and it was a novel that she wrote before she published anything, and it was never really published until long after she died. But it was friends, and I don't remember. But it was the one that was adapted to make the movie about Lady Susan. And you have a portrait of Lady Susan, who is a sociopath. You know. So anyway, we hope everybody has a warmly friendly week.
Yeah.
And I have put warmly in there on purpose because
Yes.
it's cold.
It's cold. It's cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's hard.
It's going to get colder. It's going to get colder.
It's going to be cold tonight, and it's going to
Yeah.
be colder tomorrow night. And I think the quail that we have are all going to be inside, because I don't want to put those birds through 6 below or 10 below zero.
No.
And they do it. They can live. I've gone through nights when they were out there at 3 below zero. And they kind of get together and keep each other warm and do not take advantage of the warming area that we've got that draws in electricity.
No. They're like, we're birds.
Yeah, we don't do that.
We don't do that.
They're I don't think they're terribly bright, but they do have personalities that are real.
Yeah.
And yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So there we have it.
There we have it.
Yes. Bye-bye.